Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca and I'm with the Bold Encourager, and today we are having a news report, and this is going to be a positive news report because we often hear all the negative news reports all over, everywhere, every kind of media you can think of, and it's time to share some good news. I'm tired of hearing about the negative news. Back in 2020 there was a lot of negative news, and there often is, I guess, every year. But it was just specifically more negative around this time of the year and also in 2020. So I just wanted to come on here and share some good news because I feel like everybody needs to hear good news more often than bad news. So to give people hope and make them feel encouraged and let them know that good things are happening in the world. It's not all negative. I know a lot of times the negative news gets more attention. It's more interesting sometimes, but let's be real. Sometimes when you've heard so much negative news, you sometimes want to hear the good news too. So I went and did some research on different places that support positive news reports and wanted to share some different articles. And so we're going to start with, there's actually a website called Positive News, and I'm going to go ahead and link these things down below after this episode is completed, after this live stream. So let's start with the first article, and it says, basically it's about cost of living crisis, 6 creative ways communities are responding. So we all know right now there is a lot of issues with the cost of living, and people are having a hard time with figuring out how to deal with it. So there's actually communities that are doing something about it. And so let's go ahead and read on about it. But from car shares to closed swaps, here are 6 responses to the cost of living crisis that can be replicated anywhere. With energy companies and retailers racking in record profits, it shouldn't fall on communities to cushion people from the spiraling cost of living. Nevertheless, across the UK, there are heaps of examples of community-driven projects that are going on. And what's more, many are easily replicable. And here are 6 of them covering transport, food, and clothing, among other areas. So the first one is share our cars. And this is in Oxford. The average cost of owning a car in the UK is estimated to be £3,600 per year, including depreciation. And while a lot of cars are cheaper than this, a 2020 study showed that people systematically underestimate the cost by around 50%. I certainly did, said Emily Kerr, main picture, who lives in Oxford. It was only when the mother of 3 checked 12 months of bank statements for every car-related cost that she realized that she spent £300 per month. And I'm sure we're probably paying about this much, if not more. Kira sold her vehicle and launched this closed-loop car share scheme, Share Our Cars. Now, 4 neighbors who live within 50 miles of her share their cars. So Karen now spends around £180 a month on borrowing their vehicles, public transport, an occasional taxi, and cycle repairs. Kerr acknowledges that a car-free lifestyle isn't for everyone, but said many families who currently own 2 may be able to go down to 1 if other cars were easily accessible. Want to set up something similar? It's easy to do via platforms like Hyla Car. So that was just something that they did in UK. I'm really impressed with their willingness to be a community and help each other out. And I thought that was very positive. And so there's more to it, though. This is the second thing they've been doing. Community Fridge Network nationwide. So the Community Fridge Network was launched by environmental charity Hubbub in 2017. And there are now 270 such fridges all across the UK. They redistribute food that would otherwise be wasted and are open for anyone to use without needing any proof or documentation. They are importantly distinct from food banks. As the cost of living continues to rise, more people are already needing to make adjustments to the way they live. says Liam Sweeney, creative partner at Hubbub. Community fridges have a two-way benefit to the visitor and the environment. We encourage anyone to use their local fridge to reduce food waste and in turn hope it helps them navigate through these difficult times. Fridges act as a social hubs too, Sweeney added, often giving rise to the likes of community gardens, cooperatives, and cooking workshops. Each fridge redistributes on average 2 to 4 tons of food per month. Thanks to funding from Co-op, the network is set to grow to around 500 strong over the next 12 months. I think that's awesome because, you know, I'm currently, thank God, in a good position where I don't have to do that. But I've been in those positions where I didn't know if I was going to have enough money left over for food when I was struggling, especially when I first moved to California and I had to work 2 jobs. So I know how it is to live in hard times. I get it. And it would have been nice to have a community like that to share food and especially with times getting where they are. And, you know, thankfully I'm in a good position now, but later we don't know with the way things are going. So why aren't our communities doing things like this? Because, yeah, it's nice to have food banks and everything, but I think there's something different with if you have a community of people, like we're going to just share what we have and be giving to each other and help each other out with food and car or transportation, whatever it may be. It just brings a stronger community together. So I thought that this was really cool, really great suggestion for anybody to do anywhere. So the third thing is the Friendship Orchard, and this is in Derbyshire. Of course, these are all in the UK, but doesn't mean it can't happen here. Research has shown that growing food on unused public land could boost food security and supply chain chaos and a cost of living crisis. The good folk of Belper, Derbyshire are one step ahead of the game. They've been doing just their part as a project called the Friendship Orchard. Anyone can pick fruit from the trees in publicly accessible places such as people's front garden, schools, and verges. More than 100 trees have been planted so far, with more to come. Most have been plotted on the Falling Fruit website, which maps urban harvests. The initiative is run by volunteers and the trees are funded by landowners and donations. We hope that the Friendship Orchard will provide not only free food, but will build a people network and lead to chance meetings, organizers told Positive News. This is awesome. I mean, another way to do food, and, you know, it's just a good thing to do for the community. Share your, if you have fruit trees or whatever, share your vegetables, share your fruits. And it's just like, it's the gift that keeps on giving, you know, it keeps harvesting, and then everybody has their own tree that they're planting, then it gives to other people. So it's just another way for communities to come together and be like helpful to each other and be kind to each other. Okay, number 4, the Big Help Project, Liverpool. Liverpool's Big Help Project has been sending kits containing seeds and light bulbs to hundreds of residents who are at risk of falling into poverty. The idea is to help them grow their own food and save money on energy. Each kit contains 4 low output LED light bulbs, 2 reusable shopping bags, seeds, and access to free gardening classes. These are small things, but added together, it saves money on bills, single-use plastic bags, and buying new bulbs, says the charity. Plus, the gardening classes will provide lifelong skills in window box growing to help extend their options when it comes to food. Great idea. I mean, something so simple, doesn't cost you a lot, and definitely something that will go a long way for all these people in the community. And I think that these like simple ideas work for any community, and it should be something we practice everywhere. So I really like all these ideas, and I think that we should put them into practice in our own communities, right? So I just, you know, we'll see. You know, maybe this will spur something up in somebody, and they too will want to do these things in their community. Okay, so next thing, Waverley Garms in London. A clothes swap in a South London boozer is helping people refresh their wardrobes for nothing. while challenging the throwaway culture promoted by fast fashion. So Waverly Arms is a play on the host pub name. Waverly Arms was launched by Nunhead resident Kat Lewis. She had the idea after a friend organized a clothes swap for her birthday. The concept is simple. You bring your own clothes, leave them on a table, and rifle through other people's pre-loved garments in search of something you like. There are no tokens or quotas. If you like it, take it. We get a real range of people coming and going, said Lewis. We always get lots of mums, I love English accent, coming in with their kids. It's expensive to keep kids in clothes, but these clothes are free. Any leftover garments get taken away by Collect Clothes, which sells them and donates a portion of the profits to charity. So another thing is, like, you know, clothes are expensive, and I kind of feel like it's more trendy now to go to like a Goodwill or a secondhand store or something to that matter, and we find like really interesting clothes there, clothes that have like history and that aren't so just like almost like a copycat of everything everybody else is wearing. So a lot of times your fashion sense is actually better when you get secondhand clothing, because there's some really interesting pieces you can find in places like that. But what's cool about this is that it's not even, you know, even in those places you got to pay a small fee, but here you don't even have to pay anything. And a lot of times we throw our clothes away that we don't like, or we've, you know, kind of gotten over them. So why wouldn't there be somewhere where there could be a community of people just using those items and giving them away instead of throwing them away? And, you know, not necessarily do you have to give them into Goodwill, because you know, people have to pay for those still, but just having community of people like, hey, let's just, instead of throwing our clothes away, let's swap clothes and let's have fun with it and make it like actually a fun event. And I think that's a great idea. So it's really, really awesome, all these things they're doing. I'm like, wow, England, we need to learn from you. So the last thing they had was Waste Savers Newport. A mother of 2 children under the age of 4 had finally managed to secure temporary accommodation near Newport in Wales. When they arrived, the only pieces of furniture were an adult bed and a small toddler bed that the children squeezed into together. Happily, said Nicola Rossier, reuse operations manager at local charity Waste Savers, we were able to donate a sofa, TV, table, and chairs, some storage, a single bed, and a starter kit for the kitchen with kitchen crockery and utensils. We left the house feeling more like a home. Waste Savers is just one of the 120 UK reuse charities that are supported by Reuse Network in their work to alleviate poverty, reduce waste, and tackle climate change. Many members have diversified beyond furniture reuse since the cost of living crisis began to bite, says Ellis Roberts from the network. Last year, the reuse sector used 1.5 million household and electronic items that would otherwise have ended up as waste, helping more than 600,000 households access affordable goods. Collectively, this saved them $188.5 million compared to the cost of buying a new one. Wow. Yeah. I have to say that I should be better at like giving away stuff. But you always think, oh, nobody wants my junk. But, you know, you never know. So it doesn't hurt to ask someone, hey, would you like this? Or, you know, I have these things that I don't use anymore. Would you like this? You never know when somebody's like actually thinking about, oh, I need to buy this, but I just don't have the money for it. And you never know. So you might as well ask someone. So ask your neighbor, ask your community. Let's just start being those kind of people that want to help others, you know, and spread the good news of being positive and doing good things for others and not just putting ourselves first, right? So I know there's a lot going on in the culture where it's really like every man for themselves. You know, I'm going to just take care of me and my family. We got too much going on. And yeah, I understand that. I do. But I also think something changes in you when you do something for someone who doesn't expect it. Your family will expect it, your friends will expect it, but a complete stranger would not expect you to do something nice for them. And I think it's a good practice, and it gives people hope. We definitely need hope in the world today. So I thought this was a great article, and I really wanted to share with you. So I have more great news. So there's another, and if you go to positive news, this is not the only good news report. There's tons of good news reports there. That was just the one I wanted to share from that particular website. There's another website, and it's called Good News. And also I'll link that one down below after I complete this this positive news report. So this one is about a 7-year-old with incurable condition amazes doctors now walking, talking, and top of her class. So this one is actually a really miraculous. I really enjoyed reading about this because I was just like, I hate to hear when kids are going through some kind of disease or sickness, and I'm like, you're a kid, and I wish you didn't have to go through this, but unfortunately, you know, some things happen like that in the world because it's just, you know, we're in a broken world and bad things happen, unfortunately. But we need to hear good news about this, right? So a blind girl has amazed doctors after she regained her sight and cured herself, is what they're saying, of a usually lifelong brain condition. Evie Mae Gertz was registered blind at just a few months old, and when her head started to swell a few months later, her 20-year-old mom, I'm stuck on the English accent, demanded answers. Doctors discovered she had hydrocephalus, whatever, the buildup of fluid in the ventricles deep within the brain at just 8 months old. The pressure inside her head was 32 times the normal level, and doctors warned while they could help relieve the pain and buildup, the damage to her brain was done. They continued pressured meant her sight was gone forever, and she'd likely never learn to walk and talk. Against all odds, not only did her sight return when she was a toddler, Evie Mae Gertz also learned to walk and talk. More than that, her hydrocephalus disappeared last year. Usually hydrocephalus is a condition which can't be cured and forever requires shunts, hollow tubes circularly placed in the brain to drain fluid from the area. Evie Mae is now thriving as a 7-year-old. She lives without shunts, is top of the class, and she can perfectly see without any glasses. While she's still undergoing eye tests every 6 months to monitor her progress, doctors have been amazed by her journey. They can't believe it, said proud mom Amy. Evie is phenomenal. We're so proud of her. She's an amazing little girl, and she is so brave. And this is that little girl right here with her mom. When doctors took out the shunts, Evie Mae no longer needed. They had to shave her hair back to shave her hair back to do the procedure. At the hair salon afterwards, the stylist told the little girl how brave she'd been to go through so much. She answered, "Just like Eugene cuts Rapunzel's hair to save her entangled, the doctors cut my hair off to save me." And that's an amazing story. This little girl was so brave, and you know, most little girls would be like, "You're not shaving my hair," but she knew that it was worth it, and she valued her, you know, getting healed and getting better over what her outside looked like, her outside appearance. And the fact is that she was positive about it and used the tangled example. So I just thought that this was such a great news report also, and I love hearing good things happen to kids, and I think that it's so sad when bad things happen to children, but it's just so fulfilling to hear when something positive comes out of it, and in this case it did, right? So really, really great news there. So then the next one was on Today, which is a common news section, you know, news reporting that you can go to. Again, I will leave the links for these things, but today is a common news link that you can go to. The TV, they have of course they're on TV as well, but they actually have a positive news report area too, so wanted to share about it. A woman with dementia rescued after 3 days thanks to Loyal Labs barks. Max, a 3-year-old Labrador retriever, faithfully protected Sherry Knoop for 3 days and barked until rescuers found them. What an amazing dog. I love dogs. So, this was by Jen Reeder. A 3-day search for a missing Texas woman led to a rescue thanks to a goofy and heroic Labrador retriever. On May 3rd, Sherry Knoop leashed her black lab Max, and they headed out for an afternoon walk from their home in Katy, Texas. When they didn't return, her husband and adult children grew very concerned, particularly because the 63-year-old had recently been diagnosed with dementia, and that's pretty scary. They contacted law enforcement, and the community quickly mobilized. Volunteers with the nonprofit Alpha Search and Recovery deployed search dog teams, while those with Texas EquiSearch set out on horseback to comb the area. Thousands of people pitched in to help. On May 5th, 2 search dogs alerted to her scent. Searchers that evening picked up from where the dogs left off. Hours later, as they neared a thickly wooded area in George Bush Park in Houston, they heard a dog barking. It was Max. In the wee hours of the morning on May 6, 2 days before Mother's Day, Knoop's younger daughter, Courtney, grabbed her phone as it rang. Someone that was out there called me around 3 in the morning and said they had found her. Courtney Knoop, 34, told Today, I asked if she was alive and asked, send me a picture. Once they saw the photo, Knoop started calling family members. The Knoop family is elated to be reunited with Knoop and Max, who both received medical care before a joyous Mother's Day celebration together, according to Jessica Knoop, 39. My mother is doing great, she told Today. She had a bunch of cuts all over and she was suffering from dehydration, but at that point she was back to normal. Everything's healed up really nicely and she's in good spirits. Max is also doing well, she said. He just had a little bit of a scab around his nose and he had a cut on his foot that is healing up well. Max 3 is typically a fun-loving, friendly, energetic goofball, according to the sisters. He sees you and he's like, that's my friend. Jumping on you to greet you, Courtney Knoop said. He loves everyone and everything. But he transformed into a brave protector during the ordeal, which included days filled with heat and rain. Where they were located, there's a lot of wild hogs out there. And snakes, she said. It was his bark that they heard, and as they got closer, he kept on barking at them. Once safely back home, Max took a nap that lasted almost an entire day. We feel like he was awake out there the entire time for 3 days, wide awake, protecting her, Jessica Knoop said. When they left, he had a leash and a collar on, and when they came back, his leash and collar were both gone. So he stayed with her the whole time with no leash and no collar on. Wow. And it is unclear why Knoop removed his collar. We're still trying to learn about Alzheimer's and dementia ourselves. We're learning that sometimes episodes can happen and we are not sure if she really understood what was happening at that point, as Jessica Knoop explained. But it's crystal clear that Max is a hero to his family and everyone in the community. So many people have been so generous, dropping things off for him, cookies and treats. A barbecue company brought a huge dino bone and he got to eat that. She said he is living his best life. He's getting everything, tons of love, tons of treats, tons of toys. The family is thrilled to have Sherry Knoop back home, and of course Max himself. He started out a hunting companion to one of Knoop's sons who passed away in 2019. My parents inherited him at the last thing they had from their son, Jessica Knoop said. We were barely still trying to get over my brother, so to lose not just my brother, but then a couple years later my mom, and then the only thing we had left of my brother would have been devastating to our family. Instead, they are filled with gratitude to all the people and trained pets who helped bring their mom and the dog home just in time for a very special day. It was a miracle. This was the first Mother's Day as a mom, said, sorry. This was my first Mother's Day as a mom, said Courtney Nope, who celebrated with her daughters. So for her to come back to us after that long out there and the conditions was a miracle. I'll say this, my brother was watching over all of us to make sure her and Max came home to us. So it was the best first Mother's Day I could ever ask for. Wow, what an incredible dog. What an incredible story. So we have 3 more articles to go over, so I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. So just a quick break, just to give my vocal cords a break, but I'll be right back. Hold on for just a moment. Okay, thank you so much for waiting. I just needed to take a quick water break and take a moment to relax my vocal cords. So we're on to the next article, and this is from Fox News. Fox News actually has another positive area as well, just like today. So let's go ahead and read about this. Georgia hiker rescued after falling off waterfall while snapping photo. Absolutely a miracle. And this was, of course, written by Stefan Saras. It was published on May 23rd, 2022. A hiker in Georgia was rescued Friday in what officials say was nothing short of a miracle, after she fell 50 feet off a cliff while trying to take a photo and became wedged in the rocks of a waterfall. Dozens of rescuers from 17 agencies responded to Ravencliff Falls in Helen to perform a technical rescue. The Gainesville Fire Department said the 17-year-old girl fell about 50 feet from the peak of the cliff and became wedged in the rocks from her chest down where the waterfalls meet. Now Habersham reported. Habersham, I don't know. Rescues worked for hours to free a hiker who became wedged in the... Sorry, I read that part. No, I didn't read that. This is just a picture of the rescuers worked for hours to free a hiker who became wedged in the rocks of a waterfall after falling about 50 feet. This is like the picture. And Chris Wright of the Roban County Technical Rescue Team told the paper that it was an extremely challenging location to reach and required a lot of amount of gear. So the California chopper crew rescues I don't know why it says California chopper crew rescues man trapped on 500-foot cliff, because it said a 17-year-old. The operation lasted several hours. Robin County Search and Rescue said, while the rescue seemed out of reach at times, rescuers were able to free the hiker from the rocks. The hiker suffered minor injuries and was able to walk off the trail with assistance, officials said. It's a miraculous turn of events. The female was able to walk, assisted back to the command post for evaluation and transport for minor injuries, the fire department said. Reuben County Search and Rescue echoed the department's sentiments, saying, absolutely a miracle, amazing work by everybody under extremely difficult conditions. No further details about the hiker or her current condition were immediately released. I mean, this could happen to anyone. You really do have to be careful when you're hiking. I do like to hike, but it's, you know, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and if you aren't careful, like this 17-year-old girl, you can easily go over a cliff, fall down, and be very hard to find. Also, there's animals, there's wild animals, so you always have to kind of be prepared when you go hiking, just to make sure that, you know, if anything does happen, you're able to get rescued. So it's important to come with all the necessary things so that you do have that opportunity. Some people don't get rescued, but you do really have to keep those things. And this is such a great story and a reminder to be prepared, and also that this was a miraculous save and rescue. So I just loved hearing that when people get rescued and everything, because it could go either way, right? So for it to come out on a positive side, it's always good to hear. So this story I thought was really good. So a stranger sends little girl a letter and gifts from her daddy in heaven. And this comes from Sunny Skies. It's SKYZ is how they spell their skies. And they share positive news reports on their website. So a stranger's act of kindness helped a family in need more than they could ever have imagined. Tammy Aviali lost her son Travis in a shooting in 2017, 1 week after learning he was expecting a baby girl. He didn't just take my son, he took my best friend. He took my daughter's daddy away. She never got to meet him. Aviali told KDKA News a week before we were celebrating the gender reveal party. He was so excited he was having a little girl. Aviala wanted to do something special to celebrate her son's birthday with this now 4-year-old daughter, Milan. She released a happy birthday balloon into the sky and attached a note to the string from his daughter. She wrote a note to him and translated said, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I love you. I miss you, and I never wanted you to go away. Happy birthday, baby girl," Aviala said. But what happened next is something Aviala said her and her family never expected. A couple of days later, I went to the mailbox and started pulling the box out and saw that it was from Daddy in heaven to baby girl and just started crying, Aviali said. And let's see here. So a postal worker in Fayette County, Pennsylvania, told KDKA TV that a woman found the balloon at her home and took a package to mail back to the family a few days later, addressed to baby girl from Dad. Inside the package was a note that read, "I love your birthday present. Thank you so much. Daddy loves you and Mommy so much. And you all. Here's the present I made just for you. Hope you like them." And also inside there were 3 handmade Christmas ornaments. They are Christmas tree ornaments, and I'm sending them to you as a kiss from heaven. Snowflakes are kisses from heaven. I love you so much, Daddy, the letter said. To see the smile on her face when she got her gift from Daddy in heaven was priceless, Aviala said. After that, I was through. I lost faith in people. They brought it back. I just want to thank you, whoever it was. I want to thank you. And this is what the letter looked like. She may be a girl. I love you, birthday. Your birthday. Thank you so much. Love you so much. Well, I didn't show the whole letter, but just kind of like the writing. But If your faith is lost in people, things like this will restore it back, because a complete stranger did this girl such a nice gift. Because even though it wasn't really her daddy from heaven, just to do something that you know will give somebody hope is just such a great thing to do. And as a little kid, I can't imagine losing your dad before you're even born, never knowing your father. It's just such a devastating story, but to come out of it and have such an amazing person not wanting and then they're not going to get credit for this, because they did it completely anonymously. They just did it out of the kindness of their heart. It just shows you there are good people out there. So I like reading these news reports, because it shows that there is good people, and we can't just write everybody off, right? So this was a really great story I wanted to share with you. So we're on to the last report. And I thought this was really cool, because I know we have a lot of people that we're always trying to find the cure for cancer, and you're always wanting to hear hope on that. Well, I thought this was very interesting. This is from the Good News Network, another report from the Good News Network. I had shared an article earlier about this one, but this one was a really cool article too, so I wanted to share this one too. New hope for reversing acute leukemia patients' resistance to treatment. Scientists have made a significant breakthrough in overcoming drug resistance in acute myeloid leukemia, a rare and devastating blood cancer. In a new study, researchers from the University of South Australia and SA Pathology's Center for Cancer Biology describe how they have discovered a new way to suppress a specific protein that promotes resistance to drugs commonly used to treat acute myeloid leukemia, AML, patients. Professor Stuart Piteson, one of the lead authors of the study, says the finding could revolutionize the treatment of AML, a disease that has claimed the lives of professional golfer Jared Lyle, high-profile American journalist Nora Ephron, and filmmaker Lynn Shelton. This cancer of the blood and bone marrow is characterized by an overproduction of cancerous white blood cells called leukemic blasts. Professor Pitson said these cells crowd out normal white blood cells, which then can't do their usual infection-fighting work, therefore increasing the risk of infections, low oxygen levels, and bleeding. And I know there's people that have somebody in their life that has dealt with this. It's terrible, right? SA Pathology Hemathus Associate Professor David Ross says many AML patients initially respond to Ventriclex, a new therapy for AML recently listed on the PBS, but never over time AML cells become resistant to it. Using a large biobank of patient-donated AML biopsies and world-leading advanced preclinical models, the CCB researchers demonstrated that by modulating lipid metabolism in the body, a protein called MCL1 is inhibited in AML cells, the protein that facilitates drug resistance. This process makes AML cells exquisitely sensitive to Ventriclex while leaving the normal white blood cells unaffected. SA pathology researcher and co-lead author, Associate Professor Jason Powell says, the CCB team is now working hard to optimize the drugs targeting this pathway to take in clinical trials for AML patients. For most people with AML, the chances of long-term survival are no better now than they were last century, Associate Professor Ross says. Now we have a chance to remedy that. New treatments that prevent Ventriclex resistance have potential to prolong survival or even increase the chances of a cure in a disease for which improved outcomes are desperately needed. This study has been published in the world-leading hematology journal, Blood. Well, that is all that I wanted to share with you. There was a lot of good news reports, many, and we would be here all night if I shared all of them. But I will share the links below of where you can find these good news reports. I think they're awesome. I think that we need to be more excited about good news, and we should be looking for good news instead of focusing on the bad. Because when you focus on the bad, it just makes your life seem a little bit less hopeful, right? So it's important to read the good news reports, feel hopeful. Yeah, you're going to need to hear the bad news too, but if you mix in some good news, maybe it will just make your day a little bit brighter. So I hope you enjoyed this positive news report. If you did, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out so much, and it doesn't cost you anything. Also, the links are down below. If you need to follow me on social media, I highly recommend it because I share positive blogs and vlogs. So it's just really a good place to come see and find me, and if you want to send me messages there, it's great. Also, every weekend, either Friday night or Saturday night, I will be sharing something fun on a Friday, and so you don't want to miss it. So go ahead and make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And I really enjoyed sharing the good news with you, so I hope you have an amazing day or night, and I hope you stay encouraged.